sky. Stand up high, right to the sky like a rabbit. Stand on your toes, stand on your toes, stand on your toes and wiggle your nose like a rabbit. Then you hip hop, hip, hippity hop, hip hop, hippity hop like a rabbit, like a rabbit. Then you hip hop, hip, hippity hop, hip hop, hip hop.
Hello everybody, I missed you guys so much last week, but now we're back together. So today's video, we're going to be talking about just the topic breeding. I did the topic about breeding and pregnancy facts before, but that video probably isn't very good because I wasn't a very experienced YouTuber yet, so I'm gonna do a bit better. This one's just about breeding though, not the pregnancy part. But before we start talking about that, we're gonna get a little update about what's been going on. So if you haven't seen them already, Blue had babies. She has 6 in there. 3 white ones, 2 black with white stripes, and that little gray mouse colored one. And their eyes are finally open. They're actually going to be 2 weeks old like tomorrow, I think. So that is super cool, and Mama's doing awesome. So there's no babies in here because they all got sold and went to wonderful homes, and I hope they're going to be so loved and cherished and have long, happy lives. But they are all gone, and Mouse is already pregnant again. She is kind of mad about that, but she's going to get over it. And I did something different with her, and I'll talk about that soon. But we're going to see if this works, and she's my little test pilot. Here's little Sasha Bean. Oh my gosh, she has gotten so much better. She doesn't have any sores on her feet, but as you can see, her back feet are still kind of naked, but her tail is starting to grow back, so I'm super excited about that. And also, every time I pet her now, I can feel that her spine is not so bumpy, so she's gotten a little bit fatter again, and that's awesome because she was super duper skinny at that one moment in time. But she's been thriving, she's eating, she's drinking well. You just saw her drinking, and she absolutely loves this mat so much. I'm so glad I got it. So is she, and she's also been getting a lot friendlier now. I've stopped medicating her because I think that it's just time for her hair to grow back since her feet are all better. But she is doing awesome. She was getting a little feisty there every time I picked her up. So you put her in the medicine, she absolutely hated it. And you also probably saw that I had to use the cone because she was licking her paws while she was in there, so she was eating the medicine, and I don't know if that's safe or not, so I just put the cone on for extra precaution to make sure she didn't get sick or poisoned from it or anything. But now that we're not doing that, she likes me again, so I'm happy about that. Other than that, everybody else is doing awesome as well, and the grass is super duper green. We're still waiting on those trees because they're still a little bit confused here in Missouri, so we're waiting on those. But the sooner those trees get green, the sooner a new intro will be out, so that's super duper exciting. Alright everybody, now it's time to jump into our topic and talk about the breeding. So the reason I found all this information is because I was searching breeding ideas and tips and stuff for Holland Lops, because Sasha, you know, has had 2 pregnancy tries, but both failed. She did think she was pregnant because she had some symptoms of pregnancy, but nothing ever came of it because she just had a false pregnancy. So I'm going to try these things as soon as I can with her to see if they work. But right now, Mouse is trying one of the things out, so we're gonna see if this does anything. So breeding is more tedious than I thought it was because these details are so tedious, and I've never done anything like it before. I've just put the buck and doe together and just let it go. But I guess there's sometimes has to be more to it than that. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. So the first thing is you could do a before breeding health checks on both the buck and the doe. I've never done that before. I just put them together and let it go. But sometimes this can be good and you can get a more successful pregnancy out of it. So this is what the tips are. So for the buck, you need to check his genital area and everything and make sure that everything works properly, looks normal, like there's nothing wrong going down there that you can see with your naked eye. And also check for any diseases, see if he's acting correctly his normal way, and make sure his nails are trimmed and he looks neat and tidy because when their nails are long, they can actually injure each other if they're not actually in the mood and they start to fight. For the doe, you also will check her genital areas, make sure everything looks normal, and make sure she doesn't have any diseases or anything wrong with her that you can see, and make sure her nails are trimmed and neat too. And then this thing goes for more towards the doe than the buck. The doe, check her weight before you breed her, because overweight does do not have a easy time getting pregnant, so they have a harder time conceiving than a normal weight doe. So this is more if you know your doe's normal weight, like if you weigh her on a monthly basis or something, but you can tell if she's overweight or not if you do that. But if you don't, then you can just tell, like if she's a giant butterball like Violet over here, that's probably not going to work out. But if she's normal looking, pretty healthy looking, then go ahead and do it. Oh, and another reason why you don't want to breed a overweight doe is because she will have complications in her delivery if she does end up conceiving, which is sort of rare. But if she does, she will have complications. And also, you do not ever put your doe on a diet while she's pregnant. That is so bad. That will resolve in a miscarriage or some sickness, and just don't do it. Now, I've surely never heard this before, but they recommend that you give your buck and your doe apple cider vinegar for up to a week before you breed them. Not only will this make the rabbit more healthy, but it'll make the rabbits more willing to breed, and it'll help the hormonal changes necessary for the rabbit to conceive. The recommended dosage for this is 2 teaspoons per gallon of water. So I'm going to try that with Sasha. I did not do that with Mouse, but I'm going to try it eventually. Now, rabbits don't go into heat, so it's really hard to tell when they're willing to breed or not. But there is a way you can tell with the doe. So if her vent, meaning her genital area on both sides, is a dark pink, red, or purple, and it's like kind of swollen and puffy, that most likely means that she is up to breed and more willing to conceive. But if it's a very light pink or even white, there's a very likely chance that she will not conceive and is not in the mood for breeding. But that apple cider vinegar that I mentioned just before will actually help with the color change and could make her more likely wanting to breed. The color change depends on different days, so it could be white one day, but it could be very dark red the next day. So it just depends on the day. Just check your female every day and see what color she is, and depending on the color, you can breed her or not. Okay, so now to the actual breeding part. So if the doe's vent is that dark purple, red, or pink, then that is the day that you should breed her. So never put your buck in the doe's cage, because they will get distracted and not want to breed as much as they like to sniff around and see what things are in there. So always put your doe in the buck's cage, because they already know their surroundings, so they'll just get right to work. So you should always be present during the breeding process, because you don't want your rabbits to start fighting with each other and end up in serious injuries or even murder. So always keep an eye on them and monitor what's going on. Now, I do natural cage breeding, so I just put them in their hutches and let them go at it. But some people will do actual table breeding, so bringing the buck and the doe, putting them on a table so they can watch and help out if they need to, and make sure everything's going right if necessary. Now, with a first-time buck or doe, things may be a little funny and off and not how older rabbits may breed. That's because they're first-timers and you may need to help out. So like, the buck may mount the female's head instead because he's really young and dumb and doesn't really understand quite yet. So you may need to help with that, move them to the right position, and maybe they'll get it. Maybe not. Maybe that means they're too young. And if the doe mounts the buck first, that's a good sign. That is not a problem. That means that she's actually into it and she really wants to breed and is more likely to conceive. Now, this right here is what I did with Mouse. So rabbits do not ovulate. They do not ovulate until after they are bred. So they release the eggs after they've been bred. And that's how you can get smaller litters or sometimes bigger litters. But if you do this one thing, you may result in bigger litters. So I bred her on Easter. And then I don't know what this is, what this does, but they said to, after a few fall offs, to take the female out and rock her like a baby for like 5 minutes. I really don't know what this is doing, but I'm doing it anyway to see if it does anything. And then put her back in for a few more rounds, and then take her out and put her back in her cage. That's it. But then 12 hours later, you will breed your doe again. So put her in, a few fall offs later, take her out and rock her again for 5 minutes, and put her back in, and then put her out, and that's the end. And hopefully that will make a bigger litter, because since the rabbit ovulates after the breeding, she will have released more eggs, and then if they breed again, he may be able to fertilize more eggs. So hopefully she'll get more babies out of this. I don't know. So that's pretty much it. That's all the info I have for the breeding. I used to just grab my doe, put her in a box cage and let it go, and then take her out, and that was it. But you know, my litters have been getting small. Like, I've been having 3 babies, and I'm like, don't know what's going on. Like Blue especially, she was my most fertile rabbit, and she just gave me 3 the litter before this one, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then Mouse over here, she gave me 3 for Easter. I'm like, come on. So I'm gonna try these methods and see if they work. I'll let you guys know if they work, because then you can try them out if you're a breeder too, and you can start getting more babies out of it. And yeah, but we all know Blue had 6 this time, so that's good. I'm glad she had more. She could have more, which would be okay with me. The most she's ever had is 9, but 1 died, so she only had 8 living, but then some of them got killed, so I've never got to sell the whole litter of 8 before. So if she had more again, that would be so cool, and I'd so much appreciate it. But let's really be hoping and praying that Sasha will finally get pregnant if I do all of this and take my precautions and do all this tedious extra work that nobody really does, that she'll actually have babies this time, because she's definitely older. She's knocking on a year old already, and she's definitely ready. We're just waiting on her condition to get a little bit better. I don't think she's really sick anymore. She's been eating and drinking very well, like I said, and she's acting okay. And when I was breeding Mouse and Pakshi, she was actually acting interested in it, which I found odd, that she's never done that before. But she would jump to her side of her hutch, whichever side they were on, kind of like stare at them, and I'm like, are you feeling up to it now? She never threw a fit about it, but she did start to attack Baxter a little bit the last few times, so it may not have been her time. I have checked her genital area once, but it was very white, and I'm like, you definitely don't want to breed. I just checked that one time for the heck of it. I wasn't gonna breed her then. But yeah, we're just waiting on her to get all nice and better, and then hopefully we'll try again and we'll have little lot babies, because I just want to see lot babies in here for once with the little ears down. Just adorable. Well guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much, because I seem to talk too much and I ramble, but thank you for staying this long anyway. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye!